What is up, everybody? The Destroyer here, and I'm back with another cast of the Rise of the Witch King patch 2.02, version 5.0.1. Today we have a 2v2 on Tournament Anorien to look at. And this is a game I was in, as I am right there, Destroyer, as the Elves in the bottom right. And my partner for this game is Jome, the Angmar player in the bottom left. And our opponents are King Thran, which is King Thranduil, who is Elves in the top left, and then we have Goose, who is special Goose, special guest, whatever you want to call him, in the top right, as the Goblins. This is a very bright looking map for some reason, but hey, whatever, cool I guess. So I am going with 2 trees into a barracks, and it looks like Angmar is going, it's gotta be mentioned, Jome and King Thranduil are both newer to the game, so we'll be fighting each other. Me and Special Guest are about on par with each other, I'd say. Maybe Special Guest is a little better than I am, but we'll see how things turn out anyway. I'm not saying they're bad, the people on the left side of the map. I'm just saying they're newer to Rise of the Witch King. Let's put it that way. So King Thranduil going with the Elven Barracks, getting some Anorien warriors immediately. Definitely knows what he's doing. And we got Thralls coming out for, what's his name again? Jome, of course. Special Goose. I'm just going to call him Goose. I'm used to calling him Special Guest, of course. Goose is going Goblin Warrior spam, of course. He's going to get a second cave here, so he can continue his Goblin spam nicely on 3 tunnels there. I'm sure he'll get more at some point, but 3 seems to be good for a starting Goblin, as they aren't very expensive. I've opted to go for some Anorien archers first, because I did know my opponent was Goblins. I figured there would be some Goblin spam coming, so I'd play a little more defensively. So we'll see how that works out for me. Meanwhile, we do have some Anorien warriors for some good and bad orcs here. You see the Anorien warriors doing a good job of cutting through them. And by warriors, definitely not strong enough. Even in their tanky stance, or hold ground stance, definitely not enough, but they are much cheaper. Are they like half the cost? No, not quite. Thrall orcs is 200. So, there are 100 more. But there are some Anorien archers out to help with that. That will be quite difficult for him to deal with. Some Goblin warriors being sent into my base. Seems I did kill some that tried to go immediately for one of my resource buildings. That is the benefit of going Goblin or Anorien archers against Goblin spam, but this you also run the risk of this happening, where your archers get caught out in the open and then they get picked off by the Goblin warriors, especially when they're getting flanked like that. I was trying to run away. I probably should have just stopped and fought, but it wouldn't really have mattered, I don't think. It seems Jome is okay over here. He does have a few battalions of orcs and some axe throwers to deal with these Anorien warriors, although more Anorien warriors are showing up. Thranduil is keeping up the pressure. I'm just calling him Thranduil for this. I'm not referring to him as king. He's not my king. But that is his name, I guess. I do have some Anorien warriors out on the field now. Both my builders right there, so I haven't lost either of those yet, which is nice. I happen to lose my builders quite often. Bit of harassment still happening. Rally call on these archers here. More chant going down these axe throwers to try and counter. Both these are axe throwers, except one of them has a lot less. And these guys cutting through the axe throwers like butter. And Jome is in a bit of trouble. This is not a force that's going to kill him, but it is a force that's going to be annoying for a time. And he's building more archers and swordsmen as well. So definitely keeping up the pressure on his Angmar opponent, which is good, because otherwise Angmar will start putting the pressure on you, of course. And that's not something you want. I have opted to go for Haldir this game. I opt to go for Haldir quite often. Well, it's not a hero I particularly like. He is quite useful, believe it or not. He is the first elf to give you leadership, hero-wise, other than Elrond. Elrond who's a fortune, of course. And I'm actually building up a pretty good force here. Lots of archers. And swordsmen as well. So the goblin spam is not going to be very effective against this, as you see. And also having Glorfindel. Not Glorfindel, Haldir. He is also decent against them as well. He does have splash damage, so if he does go into melee, he is able to kill more than one with his sword swing. So definitely good to have against goblin spam. But also you can get caught out and get killed easily as well, because he's not very strong. Seems Jome is starting to push forward on his opponent now. Although I think Thranduil has more than enough troops to deal with this. So keeping them coming out. He's getting pikemen now. Possibly to counter any wolf riders that may appear, although I don't see a troll and wolf den. Although maybe he did see my green pasture, so possibly he will want to be ready for that. And he has gone for goblin archers as well now, which is a good call. A spam of goblin archers and goblin swordsmen are pretty good, but when there's this many Anorien archers, it's a bit difficult to deal with. And I think he does need to mix up his unit composition a bit. Spider riders obviously would be the key choice here. Although I don't think he can get it yet because he hasn't upgraded his spider pit to level 2. So he's definitely going to want to do that. He's continuing to harass though with the goblins, which isn't what you want to do. And the elves are doing nicely against Angmar. So it seems both elf players are doing pretty well. The thralls are being cut down quite quickly. Let's take a look at powers real quick. Goose has a War Chant, 4 power points. I have Rally Call and 7 power points. Yeah. War Chant for Jome and 4 power points, and Rally Call and 7 power points for Thranduil. So that is the PowerPoint overview so far. Looks like I'm sending my no, maybe not. I thought he was going in. Although there is a force of Angmar troops in Thranduil's base, but it's not going to be much as there is a lot of archers here. Should be cleaned up easily. Meanwhile, Thranduil is pushing forward on Jome, who is actually losing a bit of ground here. He has lost a structure there. His farms. Lots of goblins being poured out of the tunnel, being war chanted immediately. And they will continue to do some damage. My Fallen Sentries being killed quite quickly. Although my archers still picking off goblins left and right. Very, very easily indeed. And I do have lancers on the field now. As well as Haldir, who is continuing to bow mode himself. I have built a statue here in a little forward base, a Mirror Galadriel being thrown up as well to heal my men. And this is going to be the bane of Special Goose, special guest, as cavalry is very good against goblin spam. He does have some spider riders out though, which is going to be a bane against my archers. And there you go, my archers getting completely wrecked here, which is unfortunate. I do need pikes now. Hopefully I am building some of them. I am indeed. I am continuing to get lancers, as lancers will be extremely useful here. They're also useful against the spider riders. So lancers against goblins, not a bad choice by any means. But if you are the goblins, to counter these lancers, you do want to get some spiderlings, as they are more attuned to counter cavalry in this patch than other patches, as they have been buffed a bit. They can't be trampled. They are as quick as cavalry. They can't. I don't think they can 1v1 them in a fight. I think the lancers will still win, but they do help amidst your goblin spam. You do want some spiderlings to help deal with that. Otherwise, you're just going to be getting trampled left and right and not having a good time. Meanwhile, King Thranduil is doing pretty well. He has a sizable elf army, and my partner Jome is in a lot of trouble. So I may have to go assist my partner here very shortly with my lancers. As you see, I am doing just that. He has signal for help. Oh, actually, no, the beacon was placed by Goose. but I don't know why. Seems my Lancers didn't get the run I was looking for. Trying to get a flank around, and I will get a crush on these archers. That's what I wanted to go for. Archers obviously being the key thing you want to go for in any elven army. If you can kill the archers, generally the units aren't that good. Oh, Haldir. He is in a bit of trouble. I put him in sword mode, and I'm going to attempt to save him with some cavalry, which, as you see, does a good job of slowing them down and killing them off. And as you, like I said before, Haldir does have splash damage, so when he hits, he does kill a lot, but he is taking a lot of damage as well as poison damage. And now I'm pushing forward against Goose, who has not much in his base. I do have lots of lancers and lots of archers, as well as the pikes. He does manage to get some spider edge out of there. Careful some guys, but they do go down to the pikes and archers. Meanwhile, Thranduil is being cleaned up here. He does have a... Jome has some black Numenorians, which are excellent swordsmen. Some of the best in the game, of course. Although the elves are still back in the back corner here. So he does have an army to worry about. Cavalry really just proving to be super useful this game. But like I said before, he's not building any spiderlings. I think that is a mistake. Possibly for future reference. Might want to try to do that. Incorporate them in with your spider riders. Might be pretty good. Of course, spiderlings aren't very good against archers, so they will be picked off against the archers quite easily. So you do have to keep that in mind. You have to play accordingly. This is a tough situation to be in, honestly. I'm not entirely sure what I would do in his position, but I would definitely opt to try the spiderlings. Possibly some cave trolls, maybe. Might help against these lancers as well as these archers. But as you might imagine, he's in a bit of a pickle. It might be hard to throw down a fissure and do such things. Haldir has been sent over here to help clean up the elves, and it seems they are fleeing back to their lands with what remnants of the army they have left. Meanwhile, we do have Dark Rangers as well as the Black Numenorians are. So Angmar starting to get to the late tier units, which is good. That's what he needs to overpower the elves. As the late tier units of Angmar are very strong. The archers are excellent, and their Black Numenorians are, like I said, some of the best swords in the game, so pretty decent army composition. And the elves have gone for no cavalry at all, so he shouldn't have to build any pikemen at all, which is nice for him. Meanwhile, I have a lot of cavalry, and I'm trying to save as many as possible. When I get a guy a battalion low, I send him back to this mirror to heal up. Although, oh, my archer's going to get trampled there. Although, fortunately, I am standing next to a couple statues, which does negate some of the damage it looks like. And they are level 5, so I guess that might help as well. But Goose is in a lot of trouble, as my army is looking pretty fierce, and they are healing up on this well. And I also have, of course, my Haldir. Seems King Thranduil has sent himself over here, Thranduil, to try and counter my Haldir. He's actually doing a good job of dying. Haldir actually countering King Thranduil, oddly enough, which is not something you would imagine would happen, as Haldir is pretty garbage most of the time. He did pretty well there in a bow fight with Thranduil. Thranduil, of course, if he had his powers, would be much more effective. Lancer's getting a good run through on the Goblin Warriors. King Thranduil moving in with his elven army, led by his own Haldir, who has been sort of freshly recruited. He is level 2. And Jome will be defending here with his large Angmar army. He does have the arrow, the long shot, as well as the fell wind. That is a brutal combo to have to deal with. And that does kill a lot of men there. And wound a lot as well. He did have a rally called, guys, so he didn't lose as many as you might think. Another volley going down. And that will do a lot of damage as well. You definitely want to try and press X and scatter your men if you can during an arrow volley. Obviously, you can't do anything about the fell wind part, as your guys will be on their backs. But you definitely want to try and spread your guys out, or at least buff them and put them in defensive stance if you can. Just trying to get as much damage as possible. And that summon has been thrown down by myself. I have called the help of the treemen to destroy Goose's base here, which is working out quite nicely. I have a very strong defense to defend these ents, so it doesn't look like Goose will have any way to deal with this. He does have a giant who is throwing rocks, but it's not going to be quick enough to take out both. Sadly. As you see, those arrows actually doing almost no damage to the giant sentry, which is kind of interesting. Although I guess I'm not actually targeting the giant, I'm targeting the sentry itself. But the fort does go down. And it's proving to be very effective. And, ooh. Thranduil did send some men to help his partner, but a bit too late, and some snow trolls actually getting the best of them over there. So they get ran over quite quickly. Thranduil is still alive, but only just. And his Haldir as well. So things looking very good for me and my partner down here, Mr. Jome. Or Jome. I'm going to call him Jome because it makes the most sense to me. Do some Merkwoods out, but at this point probably don't need them. I am upgrading my forge to level 3 to try to get silver thorns, of course. As an elf, you want to shoot for silver thorns as soon as possible, but you don't want to pretty much throw everything into that. That would be bad. Goose has left the game, as he knew he was pretty much done for. So he has left his structures to his partner. And now Thranduil will begin defending against two people on both sides of the map. I don't think he'll be utilizing the goblin structures, I would imagine. Not that they'll be around for much longer anyway, as I do have a force over here. But since that's going to be pretty one-sided over there, there's no resistance. Let's go over here and see what's happening against Jome versus Thranduil. Snow Troll's doing a wonderful job of crushing the Mirkwood archers. Snow Trolls are very powerful cavalry. You do have to watch out for those. Thranduil has been... what's this guy's name? Glorfindel has been recruited out. He is pretty good to counter our Snow Trolls, I feel. But he is trying to take down some orcs. Taking a lot of arrow fire there. There's a lot of dark rangers there. He is in a bit of trouble, I think. Trying to run away. And Glorfindel is going to die here. Oh, so close. Just barely got him away. He's not great for countering Snow Trolls that are sitting there war-chanted, you know, while he's almost dead, of course. As you might imagine, not the best, but seems to do have silver thorns. I have lots of Mirkwoods. Actually, most of these are Anorien archers. I think I have like 1 battalion of Mirkwoods that are there. But I will be finishing off the goblin structures over here. So that is nice, and that will leave Thranduil by himself to defend against two armies, which I'm sure you can already guess how that is going to end. You have a dark iron forge as well, which potentially could be going for some troll stone throwers to take out the elves with. Let's take a look at powers real quick. We have summon and allies, Elven Wood, heal, and rally call. 15 power points remaining for myself, so I'm probably saving it for 25. Taking out as many of the goblin structures as I can to get as many power points as I can. Jome Angmar has summoned orcs, Frozen Land, Fellwind, and War Chant, and that is it. And we have Summon Ents, Elven Wood, and Rally Call with 7 power points remaining for King Thranduil. And Frozen Land has been summoned down underneath them. I don't know if some Frozen Land overwrites Elven Wood. I think it does, but it doesn't look like it does it? He does still have leadership bonus, and there is no statue around here, as far as I can tell. So I'm guessing he still has it. Although those guys aren't quite on the Frozen Land anyway. No, they still have it. Because I'm pretty sure Tainted Land overwrites Elven Wood, doesn't it? If I'm not mistaken, so it's odd that Frozen Land doesn't. But I could be wrong, who knows. In comes my army though. King Thranduil will be defending against two armies. It will be very tough indeed. Haldir does have the Ring of Power. He's employing it to utmost effect. Lots of Vigilant Ent expansions though. Those are pretty effective. As you see, they're doing a lot of damage. The Fellwind, arrow volley combo, or long shot rather. Was that volley? Or could have been. I thought that was volley. Seems I did get the sun Sunflare. Completely destroying everything, but seems to have, oddly enough, the Vigilant End expansions don't take much damage from the Sunflare, which causes a lot of fire damage, which is a little strange to me. I'm sure if those were regular Ents, they would have died immediately. So it's odd that the Ent expansions stay quite easily. Lots of little quirks that you learn while watching back some games. And that is one. Vigilant Ents seem pretty resistant, apparently. I don't tend to use these myself, but that does not mean they are not good, as they are quite actually good. Whether they'd be doing more damage for other than arrow towers would be hard to say, but they do have some range. Look at that crap! Almost hitting my archers from very far away. Oh, right in the face. Not actually enough to kill anyone, but still pretty annoying nonetheless. It seems the last of his forces will be picked off here. Just a few Mirkwoods. And he has sent Haldir out to try and stop me from building Ents in front of his base. Which is probably not going to end well for Haldir, as you might imagine. There's a couple of level 5 battalions of archers, as well as some Mirkwoods here. All having silver thorns. So Haldir, well, he is bold. He's not quite enough. And I am getting a Treebeard as well as 2 more Ent moots. But I do have some Ents, of course. And we do have a Troll Stone Thrower already out in the field. It's summoned to be counter. Summoned as a counter, I should say. Not quite doing a ton of damage though. And the Fortress of the Elves is going down quite quickly. Jome getting a good surround with all his pikes and swordsmen there. Seems the Elven Mist has been out here because all these guys have a debuff. Is that the Power Elven Mist or is that the Fort? I think that is the Fort. So the Fort Elven Mist actually debuffs guys. I wasn't aware of that. I thought it just cloaked them. That is cool. Good to know. And yeah, me and Jome will take the victory in this game here against Goose and Threndwill. Originally, Goose didn't want me to cast this game, which is understandable, but he changed his mind, as he did want to show Bullshit it so he could give him some tips, which is fair. And yeah, Threndwill's been defeated, and we are victorious. So, well played to everyone in that match, and I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will see you in the next cast of the Rise of the Witch King patch 2.02, version 5.0.1. See you next time.
You cannot hide. I see.